Welcome to the Way of the Taibhsear podcast. This is episode 14, Gods and Goddesses.
In the month, and when the moon is full, ye shall assemble in some desert place, or in a forest, all together join to adore the potent spirit of thy queen, my mother, great Diana, she who fain would learn all sorcery, yet has not won their deepest secrets. Then, my mother, teach her in truth all things as yet unknown, and ye shall be free from slavery, and so ye shall be free in everything. And as the sign that ye be truly free, ye shall be naked in thy rights, both men and women also. And this shall last until the last of thy oppressors shall be dead. And ye shall make a game of Benevento, extinguishing the lights. And after that ye shall hold thy supper thus.
Think about Batman for a moment. Hold a picture of this character in your mind. Suppose you were casting a new Batman movie. Would John Goodman be a good choice for the lead role? How about Tom Cruise? Or maybe Ben Affleck? If you answered yes to some of these choices, and no to others, you probably did so because you have a preconceived notion of what Batman looks and acts like. In other words, you have an archetype for Batman. In 1971, a group of college students at Stanford University were part of a prison experiment. They were randomly divided into guards and prisoners and placed in a makeshift prison in the psychology department's basement. Within hours, the students assumed their respective roles perfectly. They were so good at it that the experiment was cut short before someone got hurt. They were able to fall into these roles so easily because each of them had an archetypal idea of how both a prisoner and a guard should behave. In the way of the Taibhsear, we recognize the power of archetypes. The gods and goddesses of the Celtic pantheon contain archetypal energy. Some Taibhsears believe that these gods and goddesses actually exist, while others recognize them as simply symbolic for certain states of consciousness or for certain energies. In either case, we make use of the archetypes they represent. Consider for a moment the triple goddess archetype of Mother, Maiden, and Crone. Think about what the word mother means to you. Now compare and contrast it with the idea of a maiden, then with a crone. Each of these ideas has a different energy that can be used in different ways to symbolize a specific intent. Invoking a mother goddess archetype unleashes the power of your unconscious mind. By calling upon a mother goddess, you are allowing the energy of your mother archetype to come to your own consciousness more fully. There are many gods and goddesses. Each contains a different type of archetypal energy. Suppose you were to call upon a hunter archetype. Suppose further that you allow the energy of the hunter archetype to inhabit you so that you become the hunter. How would that change your consciousness? Now picture yourself becoming a wise old sage. Would that be a different type of energy than you'd have had if you were a hunter? This idea of using energy contained in archetypes allows Taibhsears to weave these forces to create changes in their own lives. I can call upon my sage aspect to help me become wise enough to solve a problem. I can call on my hunter aspect to allow myself to become confident and courageous when faced with a challenge. I can call upon my golden child archetype to allow me to find a peaceful and nurturing way to approach things. The way of the Taibhsear allows us to consciously use these forces. When I talk of gods and goddesses, it doesn't matter if these gods and goddesses have any independent existence outside of my own unconscious mind. What matters is the utility of these ideas. So when I call upon a god or a goddess in a rite or ritual, I draw upon their archetypal energy. Somewhere between 80 and 95% of people on Earth practice some sort of spirituality, depending on how you define the term. Obviously, spirituality must be very important. Studies tend to back this up. What studies show is that the type of spirituality doesn't really matter. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, Hindu, or even pagan, practicing some sort of spiritual path yields benefits. Since the particular type of spirituality is secondary to the benefits gained, in other words, since all spiritual paths lead to a better quality of life for those who practice them properly, what is it about spirituality that allows it to work its magic? Suppose you could take all the spiritual paths practiced worldwide, put them into a cauldron, and boil them down to their essence. What would remain? I believe that the common thread to all spiritual practices is a feeling of connection. This connection could be to others, or connection to the divine, or simply connection to nature and to ourselves. In short, spirituality is all about connectedness. If you think back on the spiritual experiences you've had in your own lifetime, do you recall feeling connected on some level? Many people describe their spiritual experiences as a sense of oneness. Oneness implies connection to something outside of ourselves. In this sense, even an agnostic or an atheist could achieve spirituality through such connection. In fact, many agnostic or atheist pagans do just that by using their archetypal energy from the gods and goddesses. The way of the Taibhsear teaches that matter and spirit are not separate. From this viewpoint, spirit is not supernatural. It manifests itself through matter. If the matter weren't there, the spirit couldn't manifest. Or perhaps it's more correct to say that without spirit, matter couldn't manifest. All matter is ultimately energy, so perhaps this energy is simply the consciousness of spirit manifesting itself in material reality. One way to think of the spirit world, or the other world, is as the place of ideals. This would mean that the other world, or the land of the young, is a place of divine imagination. This imagination creates the framework for the spirit to manifest in the physical and material world. The psychodynamic therapist Carl Jung believed that some parts of our unconscious mind are hardwired to recognize certain symbols. Just like birds are born with a migratory instinct without having to learn how to migrate. This hardwiring causes us to recognize things he called archetypes. Archetypes are symbols that have special significance and meaning. This group of archetypes he called a collective unconscious were common to all the cultures he observed everywhere on Earth. These themes occurred again and again in their mythologies, their legends, and their histories. Since these symbols occurred worldwide in all cultures, Jung believed that they were born in human beings rather than learned. An example of one of these Jungian archetypes would be the sacred tree. The Bible speaks of the tree of knowledge. Taibhsears and Druids talk about the tree of life. Buddhists believe that Buddha received enlightenment under the lotus tree. And many Native American cultures have a sacred tree that stands at the center of the tribe. In fact, all cultures Jung observed have some legend or myth of a sacred tree of some sort or another. Some of these archetypes have a great deal in common with the gods of different cultures. Jung believed that our gods were projected onto these archetypes. These gods may or may not exist in reality, but they most certainly exist as archetypes within our own minds. Could it be that our personal gods or spiritual experiences are the result of our getting in contact with our own god archetypes? I don't claim to speak for all pagans, but for me personally, when I speak of magic, I recognize it as getting in contact with the archetypes in my unconscious mind. By exploring these aspects of myself, I allow my unconscious motivations to come to the surface. I come into contact with my deeper, inner, and hidden motivations for my actions and feelings, and become a conscious co-creator with the energy of the universe. As you explore the gods and goddesses of the Celtic world, you may consider them as archetypes or as real entities. In the end, what matters is how you are able to commune with them. To learn more about the gods and goddesses of the Celtic pantheon, visit the Order of the Taibhsear's homepage. Go to taibhsear.com. From there, click on the Sun Path link, and then pull down to Gods and Goddesses. There you'll find a list of some popular and common Celtic pantheon deities, and you may study them and learn about their archetypal energies. Most Taibhsears select at least one patron god or matron goddess. Doing so calls the archetypal energy of this god or goddess into your life. If you've not felt the call of a particular deity in your life, you may choose to seek one by following this format. First, petition. Read over the list of Celtic gods and goddesses found on the Order of the Taibhsear's home website. Does one seem to call to you? Maybe the Celtic pantheon doesn't appeal to you. Is there another god or goddess from another pantheon that resonates more with you? Select one and make a petition to this god or goddess. To petition them, first go to your own sacred space and ritually purify yourself in whatever manner you choose. Next, ground and center yourself by doing a brief meditation and make an offering to your chosen deity. After making your offering, speak an invocation to the god or goddess, asking them to come to you and to give you their blessings. Next is the vigil. Once you've made your petition, prepare to wait and vigil in your sacred space until you're given a sign of acceptance from your chosen one. This sign should come in some sort of message, such as an animal appearing, or leaves blowing in the wind, or a shooting star, or anything that would have specific significance to you personally. It could just come as a feeling within your spirit. Ultimately, the meaning must come from deep inside you and you alone will know when it arrives. Next is the omens. When omens come, they should be omens of special significance to you. For example, the Morrigan speaks to me through ravens. When I see a raven, I know I should pay attention. But if ravens held no special significance for me, I wouldn't expect to see an omen in the flight of a raven. Look at it this way. If you spoke Latin and had a friend who didn't speak Latin, would you send your friend a message in Latin? What would be the point? Likewise, omens come in the forms that have special significance to you. They should be in your language, in some form that you understand. Next is interpretation. Sometimes you may be confused or unclear on the messages you receive. In such a case, you may always clarify the messages by consulting your Ogham fuse. Use the guide to interpreting the Ogham fuse found in the Earth Path section of the Order of the Taibhsear website. If you don't have your own Ogham fuse, you will also find instructions on how to make a set there on the Earth Path section of the Order of the Taibhsear website. Ultimately, when you are chosen by a god or a goddess, you will know. It's like being in love for the first time. Nobody can describe the experience to you, but you'll know it when you see it. If you tried the procedure above and you still haven't gotten an answer, perhaps your own god or goddess is waiting for you to open yourself. To do this, meditate on being open to any and all messages you may receive from any god or goddess who calls you. In this way, the gods are choosing you rather than you choosing them. Spend this week preparing to find your god or goddess. At the end of the week, perform the ritual described above. If you already have a patron god or a matron goddess, practice reading the omens with them in mind. You may do so by consulting your Ogham fuse or by watching for signs from them. What may your god or goddess be telling you about the path you're currently on? Now research the gods and goddesses associated with each high day. Why might they be associated with a particular high day? What characteristics do they have in common with the day and the season being celebrated? Select a few gods and goddesses, no more than 8, and explore these connections using the descriptions on the Order of the Taibhsear's Sun Path section under Gods and Goddesses.
Chocolate brown, dreaming of Guinea. Grandma teaches me from the side of death. Teaches me to understand. Understand the dreams, she said. Everything is silent, silent like the grave, silent like the night.
The sacred tree is a symbol that is as old as humankind. It may even be older. Our primate ancestors lived in the trees and understood their safety and their strength. Most of the world's religions have some sort of sacred tree, from the tree of knowledge of the Bible to the lotus tree under which Buddha became enlightened. Contemplate the tree. See it in your mind. Note that its roots go deep into the soil. Its branches stretch high into the heavens, uniting the realms of earth and sky. As a symbol of the mind, the roots of the tree go deep into the unconscious world of our hidden thoughts and desires. The branches of consciousness turn our thoughts towards the light of reason. The soil that feeds our minds is made of the emotions of our lifetimes, spread out deep and thick, and hidden from the light of day. The roots of our tree of mind feed on this fertile soil. Our daily experiences are the sun, wind, and rain that feed and nurture our minds, or cause them to be uprooted in the storm. What sort of tree are you? Are you an oak that firmly stands its ground when the winds of misfortune blow? Or are you a willow that remains rooted by bending and flowing with the storm? Are you an apple tree that gives freely of its fruit of knowledge? Or are you a thorny mayhaw that makes the seeker fight for the harvest? Do you shed your leaves in the winter and hibernate? Or are you a green tree year-round, bringing life and energy to your leaf-shedding friends in their own cold winters? The Druids based their alphabet on the trees. Each letter of the alphabet represented a tree. A Druid could leave a message for another Druid simply by arranging leaves on a string. Each leaf represented a tree, and each tree represented a letter. What messages do the trees give to you? When you are in the woods, what do you feel? Explore the forest with your senses. Can you taste the weather on the wind? What is the nature of your relationship with the trees? Do you hear their language? Do they whisper to you in the dawn? When a Celtic warrior died, a tree was planted on his grave. As the tree grew, the warrior's body became part of the tree. As the roots embraced the fallen one, his soul became one with the tree. Ancient Celts saw faces in the leaves of the trees, much as we see shapes in the clouds. These were the faces of their fallen ancestors. The next time you walk in the woods, look for the faces of your ancestors who have passed to the other side. What sort of trees have they chosen to dwell in? What can you learn from your ancestors by the trees that they inhabit? The green man is the embodiment of nature in human form. If you encounter the green man on your journey, ask him a question and listen for his reply. Life can be understood through the trees. Each tree has its own character, its own gifts, and its own way of being in the world. As you study the trees, ask what lessons each has to teach you. Learn to be open to the answers you receive. The Celts marked the months of the year using trees. Each month was named for a different tree, so the Celtic year revolved around the trees. The archetype of the tree represents a map for the structure of reality. Its roots disappear into the unknown depths, while its leaves reach for the heights of knowledge. The branches may turn in many directions, seeking knowledge in all those directions, but they all have a common source in the trunk of the tree. The ancient Celts believed that a giant tree stood at the center of the earth. The earth revolved around the axis of this tree. This world tree was the source of all knowledge and wisdom, connecting this world with all the other worlds beyond. Without it, the world would wither and die. What is your world tree? Upon what axis does your world revolve?
In the way of the Taibhsear, we use the Celtic tree alphabet known as the Ogham. In this section of the podcast, we will present one character of the Ogham each week, offering information on the meaning of each letter of the Ogham alphabet, trees associated with each letter, the healing and magical properties of each tree, gods and goddesses associated with each tree and letter, and the divinatory meanings of each letter of the Ogham. Since we will be discussing medicinal uses of the plants in this segment of the podcast, please remember that herbal medicine requires caution and practice. None of the medicinal uses discussed on the Way of the Taibhsear podcast should be attempted by a novice. Some parts of the plants of the Ogham are poisonous, and people with allergies should also be aware of the potential allergic reactions to plants. If you are interested in herbal medicine, find a skilled practitioner and take lessons. Do not attempt to use medicinal plants without the supervision of an expert.
The letter M of the Ogham alphabet is represented by Mun, the vine. Its divinatory meaning is insight, introspection, and contemplation. Healing properties. The vine is represented by the grape in most versions of the Ogham. Some versions use blackberry for Mun. While grape is used more often for Mun in southern Celtic lands, northern European countries like Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland tend to use the blackberry. Both blackberry and grape have similar ripening and harvesting periods, and the fruit of both may be used for making wines. Grape leaves may be used to make a tea for treating hepatitis. Wines made from grapes aid in digestion. Grape leaves may be used to make poultices for treating arthritis symptoms, headaches, and fevers. Wine may be used as a base for mulling various different herbs and spices for many healing purposes. For example, wine mulled with cloves relieves nausea and eases the pain of strep throat. If you prefer to use blackberry for this letter of the Ogham, a decoction of the roots and leaves of the blackberry may be used to treat stomach and digestive problems. Such a decoction is also high in tannins and is therefore a good astringent. Because it is also high in salicylic acid, the active ingredient in aspirin, it may be used to treat headaches and other aches and pains, or as an anti-inflammatory. When making an infusion of blackberry leaves, simmer them but don't boil them, as boiling will destroy their natural vitamin C. If you're troubled by bleeding gums, chew the fresh leaves of the blackberry, and that will ease the symptoms. You may also boil the blossoms of the blackberry to make a mouthwash to reduce or eliminate sores in the mouth. Magical uses of Mun. In the British Isles, it is a custom in late summer to go blackberry picking. It's also a tradition not to pick all of the blackberries on the vine. Some must be left for the fairies, or you will risk bringing ill luck upon yourself and your family. Vine is one of the 9 firewoods to be added to the Belfire for the Festival of Beltane on May 1st. The 9 sacred woods of the Belfire are birch, oak, rowan, willow, hawthorn, hazel, apple, grapevine, and fir. The vine is associated with the Druid Thanksgiving of Mabon on the autumnal equinox, which celebrates the birth of the divine child. Vine magic is therefore magic associated with imagination, inspiration, creativity, music, and poetry. Using grapes or blackberries in ritual and magic will attract prosperity and wealth. Gods and goddesses associated with Mun are Manannán mac Lir and the Mabon.
silver sky. Darkness lays a crimson cloak. Your lands we call me home. So it's there my homage to, clutching by the steel of the night. Now I feel you move, and every breath is full. So it's there my homage to, clutched by the steel of the night. Even the distance feels so near. Oh, for the love of you. Clouded dream on an earthly night hangs upon the crescent moon, a voiceless song in an ageless light sings out the calling dawn. Birds in flight, a calling there, where the heart moves the stones. There that my heart is longing for, oh, for the love of you.
You've been listening to the Way of the Taibhsear podcast on International Pagan Radio, where it's all pagan, all the time. This has been episode 14, Gods and Goddesses. Music on this episode featured Aradia by Tuatha Dea, Fey Noir by Tufa, The Ancestors by Sun God, The World Tree Meditation by Sencha the Druid, The Mystic's Dream by Lorena McKennett. The Way of the Taibhsear is the official podcast of the Order of the Taibhsear. You can learn more about us at taibhsear.com. That's TAIBHSEAR.com. The Way of the Taibhsear is a podcast about Druidry and paganism as practiced by the Order of the Taibhsear. Paganism is a wide and diverse community, and we don't claim to speak for all pagans. You can get in touch with us at the show at podcast@taibhsear.com. Again, that's podcast at TAIBHSEAR.com. The Way of the Taibhsear is sponsored by Pagan Promotions. Learn more about Pagan Promotions at paganpromotions.com. Until next time, blessings of the ancestors.